Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Aravindadalayataksham Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Lasyan Dipan Dikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
জয় কৃষ্ণ বলরাম, জয় কৃষ্ণ বলরাম, কৃষ্ণ বলরাম, জয় কৃষ্ণ বলরাম। ললিতা বিশাখা জয় রাধে শ্যাম, ললিতা বিশাখা জয় রাধে শ্যাম। জয় গৌর নিতাই, গৌর নিতাই, গৌর নিতাই, জয় গৌর নিতাই। প্রভুপাদ, 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 প্রভুপাদ। জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ, 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 প্রভুপাদ। শ্রী গুরু চরণ পদ্মা কেবল ভক্তি সদ্মা। শ্রী গুরু চরণ পদ্মা কেবল ভক্তি সদ্মা। বন্দমুই সাবধান মতে বন্দমুই সাবধান মতে যাহার প্রসাদে ভাই এ ভবত রিয়া যায়। যাহার প্রসাদে ভাই এ ভবত রিয়া যায়। কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তে হয় যাহা হইতে কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তে হয় যাহা হইতে গুরু মুখ পদ্ম বাক্য চিত্তে তেক রিয়ায়ক গুরু মুখ পদ্ম বাক্য চিত্তে তেক রিয়ায়ক আর না করিহ মনে আশা করিহ মনে আশা। শ্রী গুরু চরণেরতে এই সেয়ু তম গতি। শ্রী গুরু চরণেরতে এই সেয়ু তম গতে। আজ প্রসাদে পুরে সর্ব আশা। যে প্রসাদে পুরে সর্ব আশা। চক্ষুদান দিল যেই জন্মে জন্মে প্রভু সেই। চক্ষুদান দিল যেই জন্মে জন্মে প্রভু সেই। দিব্য জ্ঞান হৃদয় প্রকাশিত। দিব্য জ্ঞান হৃদয় প্রকাশিত। প্রেম ভক্তি যাহা হইতে অবিদ্যা বিনাশ যাতে। প্রেম ভক্তি যাহা হইতে অবিদ্যা বিনাশ যাতে। বেদে গাই যাহার চরিত। বেদে গাই যাহার চরিত। শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু অধম জনার বন্ধু। শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু অধম জনার বন্ধু। লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন। লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন। প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবন। ও আহা প্রভু করো দয়া দেহ মোরে পদ ছায়া। ও আহা প্রভু করো দয়া দেহ মোরে পদ ছায়া। এবে যাত গোচক্রে ভুবন। এবে যাত গোচক্রে ভুবন। প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবন। ও শ্রী গুরু করুণা সিন্ধু অধম জনার বন্ধু। লোকনাথ লোকের জীবন। প্রভুপাদ পতিত পাবন। জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় প্রভুপাদ। জয় প্রভু প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জগৎগুরু শিলা প্রভুপাদ কে নময় বিষ্ণুপাদায় কৃষ্ণ পৃষ্ঠায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামীতে নামিনে নমস্তে সরস্বতী দেবে গৌরবাণী প্রচারিণে নির্বিশেষ শূন্যবাদী প্রচ্ছদ দেশতারিণে কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শ্রীবাসাদি গৌর ভক্ত বৃন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শ্রীবাসাদি গৌর ভক্ত বৃন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শ্রীবাসাদি গৌর ভক্ত বৃন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শ্রীবাসাদি গৌর ভক্ত বৃন্দ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 Hare Hare.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरवनचारी, यमुना तीरवनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे, कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे, जय प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा, थैंक यू। नित्य लीला प्रभु जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रोत्र सदस्य श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु शीला प्रभुपाद की, ISKCON and BBD founder Acharya Savior of the whole world Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada की, नित्य लीला प्रभु जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदस्य श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस शीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधे श्याम ललिता विशाखा की, श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की, श्री श्री गौर निताय की, श्री श्री राधा गोविंद की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की, ISKCON वर्तमान आचार्य वृंद की, निताय निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे, all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvichesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Gaurachandraya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Utapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranam Sudushkurasao Sutaram Dushashisho Yasum Bharayan Nikritim Jushastriyaha Dishtya Griheshwarya Sakanmayitvaya Kritan Vrittir Bhavamochani Khalehi Sudushkaraso Sutaram Durashisho Sakale Neha Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa. But the second or third person normally changes the tune. Yeah, someone else. Khalaihi, for those who are envious. Sudushkara, very difficult to do. Asau, it. Sutaram, especially. Durashishaha, whose intentions are wicked. He, indeed. Asum, her life air. Bharayaha, who only maintains. Should be who only maintains. That makes it completely unimportant. Who only maintains, which means it talks about the Supreme Lord. Striyaha, for a woman. Can you repeat after me the translation? Fortunately, O mistress of the house, you who always rendered me faithful devotional service, which liberates one from material existence. This service is very difficult for the envious to perform, especially for a woman whose intentions are wicked, who lives only to gratify her bodily demands, and who indulges in duplicity. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami poses the following question. Since devotional service easily awards one liberation, isn't it possible that everyone will be liberated and the world will no longer exist? The great Acharya answers that there is no such danger, since it is very difficult for envious, duplicitous, sensuous persons to faithfully serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there is no shortage of such people in the world. Everyone agrees? Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis present here, that I may present this wonderful nectarian topic of Shrimad Bhagavatam as per the Acharya's purports for your pleasure and my purification. Before we commence into the Shrimad Bhagavatam per se, it's important that we have to understand this whole chapter from how Srila Prabhupada has covered it in the Krishna book. Because His Grace Burijan Prabhu has written for the first 4 cantos Unveiling His Lotus Feet. He's written for 5th and 6th cantos The Wheel Begins to Part. And for cantos 11 and 12 is written Backward Glance. His backward glance, as the sort of notes or study notes, or not really commentary but more like study notes. So I asked him about the remaining chapters. So 7, 8, 9 he is writing, and I said 10 he will not write. Why? Because Prabhupada has already written Krishna book. There is nothing better that we can resort to when we are studying the 10th canto. So if devotees ever have an issue that why did Srila Prabhupada not provide us the esoteric topics of Dasham Skanda and the even more esoteric topics of Ante Leela. We know that Srila Prabhupada provided Chaitanya Charitamrita even before he completed Shrimad Bhagavatam. It's supposed to be the PhD study as opposed to Bhagavatam, which is a postgraduate study. And the Krishna book, he gave it even earlier. And not just that, he insisted that all the devotees of the Hare Krishna movement should read this every single day. So, the understanding is that we have to study the topics of Shrimad Bhagavatam in the association of the Bhagavatas. The translation to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya is not just listening to the topics of Shrimad Bhagavatam, it is also to serve the devotee Bhagavat. So Srila Prabhupada has instructed us to have these classes on a daily basis and discuss the topics of Shrimad Bhagavatam. By following his instructions as it is, we are also serving him. And therefore we are getting the mercy to understand these topics, which have manifested through he himself and his empowered disciples and other devotees. So this chapter describes how Lord Krishna provoked anger in Queen Rukmini, Mother Rukmini, who is this main consort, with joking words through a quarrel. And then he consoled her. Thus he demonstrated the opulence of a lover's quarrel. And in this chapter, Acharyas say, Srila Vishwanath Thakur says that Krishna grinds the fragrant camphor-like heart. Fragrant camphor-like heart of Rukmini. How do you grind anything? You grind it with a pestle or pestle, however you pronounce it. Musal, na? Ukhal musal in Hindi they say. With the pestle of his words. So with his words he ground the camphor-like heart of Rukmini. So the lovely chaste qualities of Mother Rukmini, they effectively in this chapter have already become manifest to most of you who have been listening to these topics. They will become more manifest towards the end of the chapter. Krishna's apparently insensitive words, they are seemingly insensitive, but they are elicited to bring out the beautiful, lovely, chaste qualities of Mother Rukmini. Just like on a grinding stone, you grind the camphor and it gives you the fragrance. Similarly, Krishna's words, they are eliciting these beautiful qualities of Mother Rukmini. Just like Krishna took Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas to Bhishma Dev, when his own words could not impact on King Yudhishthira's lamentation. But the empowerment by him could strengthen Bhishma Dev's words in order to influence the heart of Yudhishthira. So that is the glories of the Supreme Lord. As they say, ऐसे श्री भगवान का बारंबार प्रणाम है. So it is mentioned here that Mother Rukmini was one day, it was a night when the moon rays were quietly, moon rays of course they will be quiet, they were just shimmering in through the room, through the window sill or whatever. And it is mentioned that Mother Rukmini was fanning Krishna. And she was fanning him for two reasons. One, because he is her patim. The second reason is that he is Jagat Guru. So two reasons she is fanning her. That is what Acharyas say and Shrimad Bhagavatam says. So first I'll speak a little bit from Krishna book and then speak a little bit more from Acharya's purports. So the various maid servants there, they attended to him in various ways. So it is mentioned that Mother Rukmini was always responding to Krishna's various modes. The way he would want her to respond, she would respond. So this occasion, he saw that Rukmini's beauty was practically faultless. And it is mentioned that she takes a form that is appropriate to Krishna. So we see when Krishna comes himself, Srimati Radharani comes. Krishna expands as Lord Ramachandra, she comes as Sita Devi. Krishna comes as Narayana, she comes as Lakshmi. So he could see that she was exponentially more beautiful as opposed to an ordinary Lakshmi. I know, in ISKCON we think that because Lakshmi is Sahasrashata Sambrama Seve Manam, Lakshmi is kind of but all our pujaris have to worship Lakshmi Narayana, that's the mode. However, we can understand Lakshmi is the embodiment of good fortune, embodiment of auspiciousness, embodiment of beauty. And Mother Rukmini's beauty was significantly more enhanced than even that of Lakshmi, because she was obtaining, or she gained a form that is appropriate to the form that Krishna had presented himself in, which is he himself. Nija Rupam. It come in his own form. So then Krishna thought, I'll start teasing Rukmini. So he started by saying that previously many kings, they were very wealthy, very qualified, they were great warriors. They wanted your hand in marriage. In fact, your father, more than the father, he talked about Rukmini, her brother, wanted to give you off in marriage. Then, why did you marry me? I who renounced my kingdom and fled to the sea in fear of Jarasandha. So he says also that of all the people, Krishna saying, I transgress worldly morality. When dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam, he is still saying. And he says that I am dear to the paupers. What is the verse in first canto which indicates this? Tvam akinchana gocharaha. And even the next sloka, Namo akinchana vita nivrita guna tarshaye, Atma ramasya shantaya, kaivalya pataya nama. There both these slokas talk about how Krishna is akinchana gochara. He is a property of those who are materially impoverished. Does this mean they're all paupers? Really, it's not just the poor. It's people who don't have any desires. They're completely exhausted of their material desires. That is another meaning of akinchana. And generally, Brahmana means one who knows Brahman. Krishna is Brahman, Parabrahma, Paramdhama. Those of you who know Hindi understand that, whenever parents tell a child a story, they always start by saying, Eka Garib Brahman. Have you heard that? They never say Eka Amir, but nobody says that there was a rich Brahman. Mostly the story starts with there was a poor Brahman. So it is understood that Krishna himself is saying that I am the property of the paupers, I am worshipped by the paupers. Therefore the well-to-do would never worship me. You can see in Diwali in India, it's very popular. Lakshmi is Narayana's consort, but they worship Lakshmi with Ganesha, Saraswati and some weird other combinations. So in North India, there is a saying that if you worship Lakshmi alone, she will come on her owl. Owl is her carrier. But if you worship her along with Narayana, she will come on a Garuda. So that's the choice. Whether we want Garuda or Ullu, all. Ulluka. So, Krishna says that there is no matching between us. There is no form of matching between us, be it in the form of class, be it in the form of beauty, be it in the form of birth. We know that Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shibhe Edamana Madhav Puman. Those who are wanting to advance themselves in these areas, in terms of their high class birth or education or beauty or wealth, they can never really advance themselves in Krishna consciousness, because Krishna is the property of those who are materially impoverished. So then he said many other things, that you better marry some other prominent warrior, because I am indifferent to all this. Actually, I kidnapped you from Shishupala because I wanted to quell their pride. It's not really that I wanted to accept you, because I'm detached from these things such as wife, children, home, hearth, all that. I'm indifferent to them because I'm the self-satisfied personality of Godhead. This Srila Prabhupada mentioned in his Krishna book. And he said, therefore I'm transcendental to all material affairs. Very interesting that Acharyas say, when Lord Vishnu manifested in the Yajna Shala of King Prithu, he was balancing himself on Garuda, because he's not from the material world. He cannot adapt to the material environment. So he has nothing to do with material affairs. Say Kshataha. If the Lord glances at material nature, that glance is defined by Acharyas as Shambhu. Because he doesn't have anything to do with the material energy. So he's himself saying this, that I have nothing to do with material affairs, so, this is not for me. You better marry somebody else. And so then he stopped speaking. Srila Prabhupada says, he had destroyed Rukmini's confidence. Acharyas say he had destroyed her pride. Prabhupada uses the word confidence, that she was her husband's favorite. Which other instance in Krishna's dealings with his consorts do we clearly see this? When Krishna quells the pride of his consorts? Who remembers? Sorry? Yeah. During Ras Leela he just disappeared. Because he just thought that every gopi basically thought that Krishna was with us. And Radharani personally also, some people say, thought like that. So we know that it is to enhance Krishna's pastime. Radharani can never be puffed up. But at the same time, Krishna wanted to quell Mother Rukmini's confidence that he was his favorite. And so he said this word, and then she started crying. And then she became stunned in extreme fear, stamba. She started manifesting Ashta Satvika Vikara. Stamba. And then she fainted, pralaya. She fainted. These are all Ashta Satvika Vikaras. So she just couldn't handle it and she fell unconscious. Then Acharya says that, and Bhagavatam says that Krishna manifested 4 arms. To pick her up, to embrace her, to wipe her tears, and to pacify her. So and also to tie her loosened hair. So that's why he used 4 arms for that. And this demonstrates that Mother Rukmini couldn't handle the rejection by Krishna, or the fear of rejection by Krishna. Because Krishna tells her that later, he pacifies her by saying that to joke with one's beloved is the highest enjoyment for householders. Very interesting, right? The more we joke with, more consorts joke with each other, what spouses joke with each other, they are advancing themselves in householder life. And it's a very nice word, householder, right? Because you hold on to the house because of this. Therefore, simplicity is Vaishnavism, and Mother Rukmini is the consort of the Supreme Lord, his own energy. She's so simple that she couldn't handle this. She started chiding herself, that even to the extent of saying that she's an embodiment of his material energy, which she's not. She's the source of all energies. So then Krishna told Rukmini that I just wanted to demonstrate the strength of your chastity. Anyone who prays to me for sense gratification and happiness in family life, Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shribihi, Edamana Madah Puman. It's simply diluted by my illusory energy, Madah Puman. Such a person will take a low birth. although it is said that akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti-yoga yajana purusham param. They say even if you want to, it's a crude example, if somebody wants to smoke cigarettes, he won't go to his father for the pocket money. Why? His father will give him one, as they say in Bombay language, one tight slap. He won't give him the money because the father will do only that which is for his welfare. But if he goes to the uncles or cousins, they may give them the money. Kama isthir hrita jnana prapatyande anya devata. So, go to Krishna, Krishna will give only that which we need, not necessarily what we want. So, Krishna is saying here that those people who approach me for material desires don't necessarily meet it. Eventually they will, but they get deluded by mogasha, moga karmadi, that whole verse, vicheta saha, their whole consciousness gets deluded by corrupt desires. Ordinary women with corrupt desires can never possibly worship me faithfully. Esham tvanta gatam papam jananam punya karmana. Only those people can actually worship him. Bhajante mam dridhavrita. Others will not be able to worship the Lord in a fixed manner because the mind will vyavasayatmeka buddhi rekeha kurunandana. Bhushaka hyanantasya buddhaya avyavasayanam or bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya apahrita chetasam. Same thing. Vyavasayatmeka buddhi samadhana vidhi. Here vyavasayatmeka buddhi is not mentioned in a positive way. Somebody who is really attached to material desires, he will never be peaceful. Samadhana vidhyate. They will never ashantasya kutasukam. They will never get any of this. So Krishna is glorifying Mother Rukmini here. At the time of your marriage, you showed no interest in any of the royal suitors, which means she had no interest in material benefits, material desires. Rather, you sent a Brahmana messenger for me. Thus, you are certainly the most beloved of my consorts. And Mother Rukmini is a standing proof, the testimony that faith comes from hearing. We know this famous shloka, Shutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shanvatam Te Nirvishya Karna Vivarair Haratong Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akilartha Labham Tvayachyuta Vishati Chittam Apatrapam. She calls herself Apatrapam, shameless. Tvayachyuta Vishati. My consciousness naturally got attracted to you, drawn to you. How? Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara. He is the beauty of all the worlds. Krishna is, of course, we know Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. And Nirvishya Karna Vivaraihi. Like the Bhagavatam says elsewhere, Pravishta Karna Randrena Swanam Bhavasaroruham. By entering the ears, the transcendental sound vibration, it finally enters the heart. Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna. Krishna cleanses the whole thing. How? Salilasya Yathasharat. Like the autumnal rain or the monsoon, or basically the autumnal rains, they cleanse all the dirt. Similarly, the katha of Krishna, when it enters our heart and then through that Swayam Bhavasaroruham, it enters the heart, gets itself situated there, cleanses it of all the misgivings. Prabhupada uses the beautiful word misgivings for what is the word? Abhadra. Nashta prayeshu, abhadreshu. Abhadra or anartha. He uses the word misgivings. So those are removed, or cheto darpana marjanam. It happens because of that. So just imagine if somebody has not seen Krishna and just by hearing about Krishna, she has developed attachment and faith for Krishna, then how deep will that faith be? Now that she has got exposed to all that she has heard of. First class intelligence is if we follow what we hear from other people's experience. Second class is if we have to endure the experience. Of course, this pertains to that which is negative. But even with the positive, those are really intelligent. That's why in this moment we say, we see Krishna by the ears. That is why Darshanam means two things. Darshanam with the eyes and Darshana of philosophy. Both are ways to know and love Krishna. The more we know, the more we try to know Krishna, the more we understand that we cannot know Krishna. And the more we understand that we cannot know Krishna, the more we begin to love Krishna. Can't do anything. It's just, as I say, God to see greato. There's nothing else you can say. He's just too good. So then, Krishna, will he do unto us in a manner that we forget him? There was a threat of like temple authority chastises somebody or says that you're not qualified to be in this temple. There are big chance that he will get discouraged. He will go to his guide or spiritual guide or whatever. Or in extreme cases, he will go to his spiritual master and say, I want a change of temple or something like that. But Krishna will never act in a manner that will disturb the prema seva or prema yukta seva of his beloved and his devotees. He in fact acts in a manner that will strengthen that prema. Srila Prabhupada wanted to go on a bullock cart party. All of you know that pastime for Govardhan Parikrama. And Srila Lokanath Swami Maharaj had made all kind of arrangements. Hamsadut Prabhu and Lokanath Swami Maharaj really wanted the bullock cart party to go out. But His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and His Holiness Bhakti Chara Swami Maharaj, they were completely driven to desperation. What is Prabhupada doing? Just when we take him from there to gate number 1, this is gate number 1, no? Okay. I just speculated. So to take him to gate number 1, Prabhupada may end his pastimes. How can he do that? And they were completely desperate. They didn't know what to do. And Prabhupada here was saying, no, we will do a nice picnic. So they didn't know what to do. So finally, they made Prabhupada hear their lot. And Prabhupada saw that they were visibly disturbed. So then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada, the way you deal with us simply deepens our attachment every moment. The way you deal with us simply deepens our attachment every moment. And Prabhupada said, it's my duty. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was quite intimate with Prabhupada. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj, what's your duty? Prabhupada said, to make you love me more. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is a pure representative of Krishna. See, he's not going to do anything that Krishna wouldn't do, except what Prabhupada himself said, Baap ka beta, sipahi ka goda, kuch nahi to thoda thoda. It will not be, he is as good as Krishna, but not Krishna. So, all the activities of the Supreme Lord and His pure devotees are purely meant for the purpose of eliciting this prema seva, to developing this attachment in the Vipralamba bhava also. Those of you, how many of you here, were you here for the 30th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's disappearance in 2007? Were you here? How many of you were here? Disappearance, 30th anniversary of disappearance, 2007. Okay, the festival was themed and titled 30 years of service and separation. Service and separation. Because devotees were naturally separated from Prabhupada for 30 years and they were serving him inimitably. Anybody knows what was the record marathon figure? Which year was the record marathon figure in book distribution? It was 1978. Because devotees got so intense into pleasing Prabhupada in separation that they distributed like never before. Book distribution was humongous, was unprecedented. So this is the manner it is done. Like I remember when my spiritual master, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Guru Maharaj, he attained Samadhi. For many days I had to compare or anchor the stage for the Smriti Sabhas, so to say, or in Delhi, and 3-4 days we had this function. And I did not speak because I didn't think I had any intimate pastimes with my spiritual master, and 2, I thought, I don't know how I'm not going to be able to handle myself properly in public. And it will look very bad. So then I just thought I'll avoid that. But then I was speaking with His Holiness Bhakti Prem Swami, who is initiating Guru now in ISKCON. He's based out of Ujjain. So he said that what Guru Maharaj did, and he talked about his own Guru Maharaj, is that he is increasing our Vipralamba Bhava of service and separation from him. Although Vipralamba Bhava traditionally is directly attributed to only Krishna. But if we take from it the point of service and separation, many times the spiritual master becomes more available for us after his departure. No need for appointment from secretaries. No need to be disturbed by meetings. It's just you and the spiritual master. There's so much mercy flowing. So that mood is what Krishna is eliciting in his devotees also, by making them feel the separation from him. Like we know the famous pastime of Srimati Radharani when she was with the Supreme Lord, and Madhumangal came and said that I have chased away Madhusudan, the bumblebee. And she was with Krishna, and yet she started lamenting from him in separation. So many times it is often seen that Vipralamba Bhava, it enhances one's love for the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. Therefore, as servants or sadhakas, what can we learn from Mother Rukmini? Queen Rukmini or Mother Rukmini is the queen. She was practically brought up with a, diamond spoon, not even golden. And she was so soft. But when the maid servants were fanning Krishna with yak hair fan, they use a yak hair fan, something like a chamara. What Rukmini did was she snatched the chamara from the maid servant and started fanning Krishna by herself. It reminds me a little bit of how Hanuman was eager for service. Of course, this is Krishna's own energy. If Krishna's pure devotees are so eager for service, how eager will be Krishna's own energy? And she is the embodiment of Pada Sevanam as Lakshmi. So she is forever with the Supreme Lord and wanting to serve him. So, Devatve Deva Dehayam Manushyatve cha Manushi Vishnur Dehana Rupam Vai Karoti Enashatmanas Tanum. So, like I said earlier, she had assumed a form that was eminently appropriate to that of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna himself. So Krishna then thought that, he thought and then he smiled. Smayan, he smiled. He thought it is proper that she has assumed a form that is appropriate to me. So now I will joke with her. Let's see what she does. This Acharyas is saying like this. Let's see what she says. So then Krishna's thinking that I gave Rukmini one flower, Parijata flower from the heavenly planet. And then Satyabhama started sulking. So much so I had to go to the heavenly planet, pick up a fight with Indra, get back a whole Parijata tree. But in this whole incident, it's not like Rukmini cribbed later, saying, oh, how you just gave me one flower, why did you give her a tree? No, he didn't ask that. She clearly said, she showed that she was completely satisfied. She did not show any anger, even when Satyabhama was given the whole tree. So then, just like the Lord was thinking, how will I taste the sweetness of Srimati Radharani? Radha Bhavat Dhuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. He assumed the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here, there's no waiting. Krishna doesn't want to wait. So Krishna is immediately saying that, I wish to see how she gets angry. I want to see the mood of anger in her. I'm completely bewildered. How can I taste the sweetness of Rukmini exhibiting her anger? Because she's always sober and she speaks sweet words. Sometimes when we deal with devotees, the outside, those who are not yet in devotion, we shouldn't call them outsiders or non-devotees. They're not yet devotees. They deliberately use words or commit actions to provoke the devotees. And then they say, you're a devotee and you're getting angry. It's like that. So, Krishna, now I understand where it comes from. Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loke, everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. So Krishna also wants to check this. He wants to incite the anger in Mother Rukmini. So, Acharya has also explained that Krishna was not just trying to incite the anger. He wanted to see how his beloved Rukmini would respond if he would uproot the tree of her prema, which means, I'm no longer there for you. Who will you love? And then he tells Rukmini, you have no transcendental qualities. You are ignorant about your own welfare. You're not very intelligent. Now just let me explain this whole thing to you. And then Krishna speaks 11 verses from verse number 10 to 21, where he flogs himself, so to say. That I am not good enough for you, so on and so forth. But Rukmini had thought that she was the real beloved of Krishna, because he never left her company. But what she doesn't obviously know, that in 16,107 other palaces, Krishna is doing the same thing at the same time. But he just thought that I am his beloved, he never leaves my company. So then he said all these things, Krishna, and he vanquished her pride. Then he stopped speaking. But for devotees, sadhakas especially, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur speaks in Madhurya Kadambini about Taranga Rangini, which is what you call pure devotee syndrome. Right? So it is just like Prithu Maharaj was glorified by the Sutas, Magadas and Vandis. And he said that only a ignorant person would allow himself to be glorified by somebody when he doesn't have the qualities. Although he is Palana Shakti of the Supreme Lord and the Guru for Archanam, Acharya for Archanam. Yet he is saying that I haven't manifested these qualities, don't glorify me. But when devotees get glorified that you are Shuddha Bhakta, Mahabhagavata, and then they bask in the pride, then there is a serious issue. Which is why Krishna in the 13th chapter 8th verse starts with all those limbs of knowledge, all those items that are parts of knowledge. Anyone remember the first two items? Amanitvam and Adambitvam. Humility, pridelessness. So, Krishna can say, Aham sarvasya prabhu matta sarvam pravartate. Even out of true ego, we should not say, I am Krishna's devotee. Jivara Shurupe Krishna Nityadas, that's fine. But that knowledge should give us humility. Vidya datati vinayam. When you say that Jnanavan mam prapatyate Vasudeva sarvam, when you say Vasudeva is sarvam, I am his dasa, then that should elicit humility in us. So, Krishna, even when he wants to set an example in terms of not having pride in the hearts of his sadhakas, or these sadhakas not having pride in their hearts, Krishna acts through his devotees and his energies. We know this point. Prabhupada gives the example of a newly married daughter-in-law is instructed by her mother-in-law how? Through the agency of the daughter. She doesn't directly instruct her. Quite similarly, when Krishna wants to demonstrate something very, very elevated as a mood, he acts through his energies, he acts through his pure devotees. Just like making Lord Shiva running amongst the hermitages of the sages. He could have made him run on an empty road, right? But why? Through the ashramas. Like in Hindi they say, na, achhe se dhulai kari. Literally washed him up. And look how Lord Shiva responds. He is so grateful, so happy that my master is so glorious. Similarly, Mother Rukmini is showing how attached she is to Krishna, how chaste she is to Krishna, how sad she is to be deprived of the service to Krishna. And therefore, she thinks in her heart that even though I am unfit to be Krishna's wife, by his own good qualities, he made me his most fortunate wife. Thus, I have acquired a husband who is an ocean of good qualities. And Krishna catches this thought. Even this thought, Krishna doesn't leave. They say, you cannot say, some people say, I'm proud that I'm humble. So, it's one of those things. It cannot happen like that. So, one Western philosopher remarked like this, and contemporary acharyas quote him. Humility does not mean you think less of yourself. That मैं कीड़ा हूँ, मैं पतित हूँ. Humility means you less think of yourself. Well, you're not so important that you should talk about yourself, that I'm so bad, I'm so fallen. Like His Grace Madan Mohan Prabhu, one of my teachers once told me, he's from Russia. He told me that there was a devotee arguing with another, and he said, I am so, not arguing, he was mentioning that I am most fallen, I am like a woman's stool. He said, oh yeah, why don't you go wash the dishes in Govinda's? And he said, what do you mean? So that's the thickness of our humility. So, just like we know how Krishna disappeared from the rasa dance, Krishna dislikes pride. Therefore, Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to demonstrate Nija Bhakti Karam Priyacharutaram Nata Nartana Nagara Rajakulam. Nija Bhakti, he wanted to demonstrate Vairagya Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yogam. But how did he demonstrate it? He demonstrated it by his humility. Every time somebody would call him Narayana or Krishna, he would cover his ears and say Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. Not like Prabhupada said, every day in John F. Kennedy Airport, one incarnation lands. It's not like that. So, all these sattvika bhavas that Rukmini elicited, they were accompanied by dainya, because that is a sanchari bhava, it is like a companion quality. So when she was, she had a mood called anuraga. I'm not getting into it because I don't have the qualification to speak about these higher topics, but suffice it to say that Acharyas say that she developed a state of love of God which is very, very advanced, which is called anuraga. And this is intense attraction for Krishna. But what happens is that when you get intensely attracted to Krishna, you feel from your heart that I'm wretched, I'm unqualified. That's what our acharyas always talk about. What are the three types of prayers? Anyone remembers? Bhakti Rasam Sindhu? One is Dainya Avabodhika. Dainya Avabodhika. Lalsa Mai and then Samprathanatmika. So Dainya Avabodhika, you speak from a mood of humility. Complete humility and unqualified. Yogyata bichara kichu nahi pai tomar karunasar. Shakti buddhi hina ami atiti na karo more atmashat. This is the mood of the acharyas. Once one senior brahmachari, he had met Prabhupada, but he got initiated by His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami. I'm not taking his name. So when somebody after he delivered the lecture, a devotee raised his hand and asked a question, said, Prabhuji, I am actually most fallen. He said, what do you mean most fallen? You've taken Narottam Das Thakur's place? So, like Srila Prabhupada said, you're never the most in anything, most fallen or anything. That's the extent of humility, dainya. This dainya attracts Krishna. And then what happens? If Draupadi's goal of life is to please Krishna, if Krishna wants her to get angry, shouldn't she be getting angry? Why does she not get angry? Everybody knows? It's very interesting. Acharyas say that Krishna's Ichha Shakti or his free will or his desire is under his own control. We may also think that we have free will, but what is the extent of our free will? What is the extent of our free will? To take shelter of Krishna or not to take shelter of Krishna, that's all. So it's a binary world. Krishna Suryasa Maya Andhakar. If there is no one, it is zero. There is no other option. Either take shelter of Krishna or not take shelter of Krishna. But Krishna has Ichha Shakti, desire potency. Because he is Swarat. He is a transcendental autocrat, as mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he has Ichha Shakti, which is in his control. But his devotee's prema controls Krishna's Ichha Shakti also. And that is what happens. In that situation, his Ichha Shakti has no power. When the prema of the bhakti is there. That is why Sthitagraiva Damodaram Bhakti Baddham. So this is the situation here. And we know that, I didn't want to explain more in detail, Rukmini elicited a lot of sthai bhavas, and Mother Rukmini then prays to the Lord that let me have loving attachment to your feet, even if you're indifferent. Ashli Shava Padaratam Pinashtamam Adarshanan Marmahatam Karotuva. Your indifference to me is appropriate, since you glance on the entire universe with indifference. That is why when Nalakuvara and Manigriva prayed to the Lord, they prayed for Drishti Satam Darshanestu Bhavat Tanonam. May our eyes constantly meditate on you in the form of your expansion, the material world, because everything has Krishna as a super soul. So He's Atman Ratasya or Atma Ratasya or Atma Rama. He takes pleasure in himself. So Krishna doesn't have any desire for the material world. So Mother Yashoda became mother of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada says, because she could purchase anxiety for Krishna. Similarly, Krishna is purchased by the love of his devotees. And Krishna says finally, to conclude, that, "O Manini," he calls her, respectful one, "among all my loving wives, you are the best. You sent me a confidential message through a Brahmana after hearing many true stories, Sat Katasya, about me." So, therefore, the Swarataha, Krishna is Swarataha, he is self-satisfied. He enjoyed joking conjugal conversations. Saurata Samlapair. Saurata means conjugal. Samlapair. Samlapair. Vartalap, we say in Hindi also. Samlapair. Samyak Rupena Lapa, which is very wonderful, elevated talks with his wife. With whom Ramaya Reme. Rama is Lakshmi or Rukmini herself. It is his own personal expansion. And he was ridiculing and imitating the average householder, the husband of the world. But through this transcendental pastime, he condemned material happiness and material life by showing its inferiority to his transcendental happiness. Krishna derived so much happiness from Mother Rukmini's service to him. He just wanted to incite some anger out of her, and because of her attachment and chastity to him, she expressed Ashta Satvika Vikara, and that was also pleasing to Krishna. Although it did not exactly go as per script, as they say. But because of his love for his devotees' prema, he was willing to subjugate his own Ichha Shakti. That is Krishna. Sri Radha Shyam Sundar ki, Srila Prabhupada Bhakta Vrinda ki. So I don't know if you have time for questions. Hopefully yes. Some comments from any senior Vaishnavas? Vaishnavis, Vaishnavas? Is there any question that I can attempt to answer? Yes, thank you for saving me. If there is no question, it means the speaker hasn't spoken properly. Yeah. Sometimes His Holiness Bhakti Damodar Swami Maharaj told once that humility comes by humiliation. Any questions after that class? And then pin drop silence. That means the impact of the class. So,
how we understand the meaning of separation? Sometimes it's like mind game. It's not separation, it's a mind game.
Assume it's a mind game. Don't think it is separation. I remember when I was sitting on Vyasasan in, I think, the year 2003. Yesterday I talked about this. This was in Mira Road, Mumbai. 2002. So in the morning they had announced that His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj is not well, so everybody should pray for him. So then I sat on Vyasasan and I started speaking that, first I started saying that, please all of you pray for His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj because his health is not doing good, and I had this, choking up and all that. So I was very proud that I was feeling sad about my Guru Maharaj's health and all that. So the next day, I was on a morning walk with my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, in Juhu. And so I asked Maharaj that, Maharaj, so yesterday on the Vyasasan, I reacted like this. Should I understand that this is a genuine feeling, or is it something artificial? So I was hoping that either he will chastise me saying I don't want such public displays, or he will say I'm very happy that you're so attached to me. You know what he did? He said, I don't know. Busted the balloon. So when it is just like this. When something adverse happens in our life, is it because of Krishna or because of our karma? Please tell me. Should we assume that I am so elevated that Krishna will intervene in my life? They say in Hindi and Urdu, behind trucks they write it. I keep repeating this. Apni auqat mein raho. Stay where we are. We should stay grounded. So we'll assume that even if we get so-called Vipralamba Bhava, Ashtasattvika Vikara, whatever it is, one thing is to consult with spiritual authority, that am I overdoing it? Second thing is to assume that on my own I am unqualified to have these feelings. It may be some trick of the mind or it's some sentiment. And if at all anything about it is true, it is because of the mercy of the Supreme Lord and Guru. Like Pingala Vaishya felt detachment when no customer would come to her after waiting the whole night. So she said it must really be the mercy of the Supreme Lord. But we shouldn't even consider ourselves qualified to receive the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So on this safe path, it's better to assume that it's the mind. It's safe. It's better to be safe than be great. Is that fine? I don't mean to be preachy, but I thought it makes sense to me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Can I take one question from the mothers? Yes, mother. I guess we'll have to close with this, right? You'll take me. Important part of the day. Yes, mother.
I'd like to ask question on the point that you mentioned that it is very practical thing. We do come across devotees who tell that we are very fallen, and so on that point I want to ask a question that I was hearing a lecture, and in that it was mentioned that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked that who is a Vaishnava? So one who is constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord. But such a devotee, who's constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord, we see practically that he's constantly chanting the name. But at times we see such a behavior also. Like you mentioned, he says that I'm very fallen, So, Prabhuji, then the mind tends to judge, that this is not real humility, like you mentioned. Now, because we have the knowledge that what is real humility, then the mind tends to judge that he is chanting the holy name, but the behavior is not showing the real humility. So in that case, Prabhuji, we don't want to commit offense to that Vaishnava, but at the same time, how do we justify ourselves that, what is right and what is wrong, and we are able to carry on our devotional service without committing aparadha?
If you understand right, we may see devotees who are seemingly intense in their devotion but have sometimes behavior that doesn't quite tally with that same. And therefore, how can we guard ourselves from judging that behavior, right? So, come back to the same point. Apne auqat mein raho. Right? It's very important that we operate on our span of influence or a circle of influence. If somebody is acting in a certain manner, one, do we have the authority to judge that person? Do we have the relationship with that person to judge him? And are we empowered by superior authority to rectify that person's behavior? This is one filter. Second filter, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Third filter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, by the same mouth with which you partook of poison, you partake of nectar. First thing, whether he is or she is behaving inappropriately, duplicitously or not, the first thing to address is our consciousness. Because Krishnas are not allowed, going back to God does not depend on how many people you have judged correctly. Going back to God depends on how well you have judged your own consciousness correctly and rectified. Because Srila Prabhupada said, I was successful because I was introspective. And Mahabharata says, Nindanam dosha kirtanam. Mahabharata says that the moment you find fault in somebody, all that person's faults will come on to us. It is just like, I am made of rubber, you are made of glue. Anything you say bounces off me and sticks to you. But it works the reverse. If we malign somebody, chances are that we pick up his bad qualities. So we have to look at our patrata, whether we are empowered to do so. We have to look at our relationship and we have to see what is our mood. Is there some underlying envy in this? The other side of it, and I was told this by His Holiness Bhakti Bharat Swami Maharaj. He said you should associate with a devotee for whom you have fearful respect. It's not just respect, it's not just fear. Fearful respect. So with that person, at least, you start small. With at least one devotee, you don't judge him. It's habit of many births. So it's like we judge other people and gradually we judge Guru also. We judge Prabhupada also. We judge Krishna, Paundraka. There is a Paundraka hidden in all of us. So like Bhakti Tirth Maharaj said that you have to feed the good dog, not the bad dog. If we have a choice, please remember is Kalo Dosha Nidhi Rajan. You don't get a PhD for finding out the fault in others. Take it for granted that everybody has faults. It is just that I am not the person to find those faults because I am myself not qualified. It's a practical understanding. Apart from being a highfalutin philosophy, is it in my span of control to rectify that person? If you can't help the person, just shut up. And if your mind doesn't shut up, immediately try to glorify the devotee, try to serve the devotee, or if it's too noisy, chant Hare Krishna louder than the mind. Bhakti Vishram Madhav Maharaj said in a class sitting here, I remember, several years back. If your mind disturbs you, then chant louder than the mind. Chant Hare Krishna. If you are judgmental, chant Hare Krishna. If you are lusty, chant Hare Krishna. If you are angry, chant Hare Krishna. If you are happy, chant Hare Krishna. If you are sad, chant Hare Krishna. Because this is the Hare Krishna movement. Because it is the Hare Krishna which will ensure the movement. So, let's play safe. You know the whole thing about various types of sadhus. Somebody who sees good and bad and he enhances only the bad. Somebody who sees good and bad and enhances the good. Somebody who sees good and bad and doesn't see bad at all. He sees only good. And somebody who sees even bad, he considers it good. There are so many levels of sadhus and asadhus. Where do we want to be? It may not be practical for us to be at that highfalutin level. So the least we can do is to keep ourselves surrounded by a network of Vaishnavas who can find the faults in us faster than we can find the fault in others. And that will keep us in check. Make sense? Sorry. Yes, Mother.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you for your patience.
What is the reason why Krishna started to
Rukmini? Because he was fun, he was peaceful, and suddenly he started to speak. And why he started to do
So
that?
Acharyas are saying several reasons, Mother. One reason is that he really wanted to elicit the mood of anger in her. Because she never gets angry, she's always sober. So as an exchange of rasa, he wanted to see how she performs. You know, there is Vama Bhaga and the Dakshina Bhaga, two types of gopis also. Some Acharyas say that Rukmini ji is an expansion of Chandravali. And Chandravali never sulks. And Satyabhama is an expansion of Srimati Radharani. So she expresses mana. So Rukmini ji never shows anger. And though he wanted to elicit that anger from her, one. Second point was that Krishna really wanted to glorify her as to how chaste she is, despite running the risk of even losing Krishna. He wanted to glorify Mother Rukmini, her chastity towards him, and also to elicit the mood of anger in her for his own pleasure. But it backfired. Because she really felt that Krishna is leaving me, she's so simple, she couldn't handle it and she fainted. And Acharyas say that that is because her prema subjugated Krishna's own desire to make her angry. And that's what happened. Did I explain that?
Yes, very well. Just surprised because it's not a pleasure to be pushed to be angry, and sometimes many situations for us also it's like this. We said something, and I don't know if it's laziness or craziness in others. They don't want to do it, and they start to argue for that we become stronger, or if I don't know, become. Push them, give them this strength to do something. I see in the ashram, by example, we said we should sleep at 9. But the person, they start to do something at 9 p.m. So we said, please sleep now, take rest. And then or something happened. Yes. Why the mind become attached to Maya at this moment? And to put others in anxiety. Is it like Krishna for increase the love, or is it?
No, Krishna talks about Kshipami Ajasram Vigunan. He permanently casts them into hellish existence, because there are some people, no matter how Krishna is attractive, will only still see the negatives in him. Because it's just like, you may not know it because you're a saintly person, but there is something called a non-saintly person, or a sadhu and shaitan. There will be a few, because Krishna has given the free will. Some people, they don't take the spiritual piety that comes their way to develop devotion. Spiritual piety comes their way to develop devotion. Devotees may show you the temple, devotees may give you prasadam, but they refuse to take it. Sometimes you even beggars who come on the street, you try to give them some prasadam. They throw the prasadam. You make them chant Hare Krishna, they will not say Hare Krishna. So some people are very deeply ingrained samskaras. So that is why Srila Prabhupada said, you have no Sukruti, I have given you Sukruti. It takes a pure devotee to transform the hearts of really demoniac people. It's not easy, because they have a propensity to rebel from Krishna. Mokasha moka karmana moka jnana vichetasaha rakshasi masurim bhava prakriti mohinim. That's the whole point. They are like that. It is a DNA. It's a manufacturing defect. Of course, Krishna cannot be defective in his manufacture, but they chose to permanently rebel against Krishna. So it takes lot of purification for them. Takes lots. Pray for them. We'll have to conclude. Okay, last question. Mataji are just warming up.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful class.
That's
I just have one question, that you recently said that we have to stay in our aukat, like that. So that we don't have to think like this. Krishna is acting on our life to elevate us in devotion. But sometimes it may happen that devotees think that we are in some trouble and we are going down in devotion, and somehow something had happened, some miracle or something had happened which has taken out the devotee from the problem, and they have again into the platform of the devotion. So what should we think that? Isn't it a mercy of the Lord that directly happening to us, or we should think something else?
We could think that I am not qualified for this mercy. That's a fact. I am not qualified for this mercy, but still somehow or the other, because of my spiritual master's mercy, or by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, Krishna's helping me out here. It is not because I am qualified. It should make me more grateful, and it should make me more responsible. Like when I committed one serious offense and I went to my spiritual master and I begged forgiveness. I was on my knees literally. And I thought he will say, it's okay and all that. He just looked at me into my eyes and said, I forgive you, but don't repeat this. So that's really the point. We should not make the same mistake twice. Krishna's given you a long rope. Don't misuse it. So it's an opportunity that has come to you, which is why it is called Ahaituki Kripa. Not because we are qualified. It's come. You fall in the rain area, the rain will fall. Whether you are fertile enough to sprout a seed or not is up to you. Did that make sense? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nityananda Gaur Sitanath Premanande.